The locals call them the bound ones. But no one remembers who carved them, or whose faces they were meant to mimic. They stand in the center of a field that never grows yellow, even in the harshest winter, always a sickly, vibrant green. When Sarah first saw them, she thought they were a memorial. Each pillar was a masterpiece of suffering. Men and women bound in thick wooden ropes, their hands clutched in prayer, or frozen in the act of trying to shield their faces. The wood was weathered and gray, except for the faint brownish stains that pooled in the crevices of their eyes and mouths, like dried weeping. The most disturbing part wasn't the carvings themselves, but the dog she had brought with her. Barnaby, a brave terrier, wouldn't go within 20 feet of the circle. He stood at the edge of the grass, hackles raised, barking at the empty spaces between the totems. Sarah stepped closer to the tallest figure, the one holding a sword that looked more like a stake driven through its own heart. As she touched the rough grain of the wood, the air temperature plummeted. The sound of the wind died instantly, replaced by a wet, rhythmic slapping sound, like bare feet running on mud. She turned around, but the field was empty. Except, the totems were different. The figure that had its hands over its face was now peering through its fingers. The one bound in the heaviest coils of rope seemed shorter. It wasn't sinking. The wood was thickening, as if the rope was being pulled tighter by an invisible force. Sarah looked back at the sword-bearer. A single, fresh drop of dark liquid was trailing down the length of the wooden blade. It wasn't sap. It was warm. Panicked, she whistled for Barnaby, but the barking had stopped. She looked toward the edge of the field. Barnaby was gone, but a new, smaller pillar was beginning to erupt from the soil near the perimeter. It was pale, unweathered wood, but it already bore a shape, the small, terrified face of a dog, its mouth open in a silent howl. Sarah realized then that the ropes weren't just carvings, they were the wood itself, reaching out to claim anything that stayed too long in the circle. She felt a sharp tug at her ankle. Looking down, she saw a pale wooden root curling around her boot like a finger. The bound ones weren't a memorial, they were a guest list, and they were finally ready for their next arrival. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.